Good day everyone, I am Cristina Carbajosa Obial from the Group 3. And today, we will be discussing about moral theories and mental frames. For a long time, ethics focused mainly on moral theories. Those big rule systems like focusing on duty or focusing on results. They tell us what is right. But recently, we realized that how we think is just as important. That's where mental frames come in. These are quick mental shortcuts and perspectives we use that filter our understanding of any ethical problem. So our topic explores the gap, the difference between the ideal rules or theories, and the real-world thinking or the frames that shapes our actual moral choices.
Today, we will tackle about the moral theories and mental frameworks. So, an ethical framework is the set of codes that an individual uses to hide a person's behavior. This is just another term for moral standard. As discussed in the early part of this text, this is what people use to distinguish right and wrong, and the way they interact with the world. So, in line with that, mental frameworks influence ethical decision making by shaping how information is perceived and how actions are evaluated. So this is used to determine the moral object of an action. So we have various dominant mental frameworks may be classified as follow. So first we have virtue or character ethics of Aristotle. Second, we have natural law on dominant ethics. Third, we have deontological and duty framework of Immanuel Kant. Fourth, we have utilitarianism and consequential application. Fifth, we have love and justice framework. So, moral theories are frameworks that provides principle to determine right and wrong action, while mental frameworks are the subjective lenses through which individual interpret moral situation.
Good day everyone, I am Cristina Carbajosa Obial, and today I will be discussing the virtue or character ethics of Aristotle. The core of Aristotle's framework is asking, who is the ethical person? The answer is the virtuous person, one who has developed good character. Virtues are attained by actualizing the individual's potential or possibilities. The highest good is happiness, or Aristotle called this as eudaimonia, which Aristotle defined as joy of self-realization and self-fulfillment through having actualized one's potential. So the main focus of Aristotle's virtue ethics is all about becoming a good person by developing good habits and good character. So Aristotle asked, who is an ethical person? And his answer was, it is someone who has built a virtuous character. So think of virtue as good habits or good qualities like being brave, honest, and kind. So those are virtues. Those are part of a good habit or qualities. Tapos, paano ma-develop ang virtues? So, nagapati si Aristotle nga ang virtues can be developed by doing good things repeatedly. So, arang gina-practice nimo siya consistently, mo na siya ang maka-develop si mo virtues. So, ang virtues nagatabang or nagabulig na sa aton para ma-reach atong full potential. Tas sa Aristotle ginatawag din niya og eudaimonia, which means happiness or a life well lived. So, one example of this is, for example, arang ikaw gahambal ka sang tuod permi maski arang budlay na kayo ihambal ang tuod pero mas ginapili nimo buhaton ang right thing, ginahambal mo ang tuod. So, gina-practice na nimo ang virtue of honesty. Thus, over time, arang sasagi nimo hambal sang tuod, nahimo na siya part sa imong character. Thus, another example is someone who helps other in need. Tapos, by consistently helping others, gina-practice nimo ang pag-develop sa virtue of generosity. Tapos, ginag-believe si Aristotle nga sa pag-develop sa imong virtues, ma-achieve nimo imong happiness sa life. Tas he also believe na ang happiness dili lang jud siya sa arang maka-feel good ka sa isa ka moment, pero it's about it's about a sense of fulfillment from living a virtuous life. And he also believed that virtue is about becoming the best version of yourself by using your talents and abilities in a right way. So, in short, si Aristotle, ang Aristotle virtue ethics ga tudlo sa aton nga being a good person is about developing good character traits through practice. By striving to be virtuous, we can achieve true happiness and fulfillment in life. Now, let us proceed to natural law or commandment ethics of St. Thomas. St. Thomas taught that morality comes from natural law, which means do good and avoid evil. He believed that people should follow the 10 Commandments, summed up as law. For St. Thomas, morality is based on the natural law, which establishes that what is right is what follows the rule, to do good and avoid evil. In distinguishing good from evil, one is primarily guided by the 10 Commandments, which serves as summation of the moral obligation to love God and one's fellow man, God and others. So, St. Thomas Aquinas believed that the right and the wrong comes from the nature, and he also believed that there's a natural way of things should be, and dapat daw kita maghimo ta sang maayo nga things and mag-avoid man ta sa mga bad things, because amo daw na ang way, amo daw na ang paano ta mag-live, how we are meant to live. So, ang natural law ethics by St. Thomas Aquinas is based on the 10 Commandments. So, ang ari niya nga law is naga-base ni sa 10 Commandments para mabalaan nimo ang example sa natural right and wrong. So, in simple terms, there's a natural way to be good and we should follow it. So, dapat i-follow nyo na to ang 10 Commandments kay it will help us know kung ano daw ang right kag wrong. So, for example, sina is ang stealing. And so, we all know nga stealing is wrong because it goes against the natural rule of respecting other people's things. Respecting other people's things. So, it's also against the 10 Commandments. So, sala na siya sa atua as a tao. Siyempre, stealing is wrong. Kung mag-steal ka sa laing tao, may sala na ka sa iya. Tapos, he also believe nga, kung ka-steal ka, makasala, pagid ka nikan. So, amo na siya ang explanation sa natural law ethics. Lastly, we have the ontological and duty framework of Immanuel Kant. Kant's framework centers on the ontology, or the concept of duty, or dion. So, ang main meaning sa deontology is obligation, or duty. It focuses on the intentions and the right of individuals demanding equal respect for all. Moral action is based on the categorical imperative, meaning people must act by the rules that can be universalized as an obligation of every individual. Furthermore, the framework requires that one treat every person as an end and not merely as a means, respecting their inherent worth or dignity. So, Immanuel Kant had a different idea. Nagapati sa nga, what matter is doing your duty and following the rules. Tapos, he also believed nga, it's about paghimo sang sakto nga butang, or paghimo sang right thing, hindi kay kabalo ka sa matabo afterward, pero gihimo nimo siya kay kabalo ka nga amo na ang sakto. Tapos naghambal pud sa iya sa presentation nga dapat i-treat nato ang kada isa with respect, as in everyone. So, in simple terms, ang ginapatihan sang deontological ethics is dapat himuon nimo ang insakto kay amo na imo duty, bahala na magkinaunsa. Tapos ang example sini is dapat maghambal ka sang tuod pirmi, bahala makuan ka sa trouble kay kabalo ka nga ang paghambal sang tuod is amo na ang rule nga dapat naton i-follow. So, in summary, parang si Aristotle, ga-focus siya sa being a good person with virtues. Tapos, si St. Thomas, ga-focus siya sa pag-follow nato sa Ten Commandments, which is God's natural law, or do good and avoid evil. Tapos, si Immanuel Kant is ga-focus siya sa pag-act sa aton nga duty o sa pag-follow nato sa universal laws nga mag-apply sa tanan.
Utilitarianist, theological, and conceptualist framework. The utilitarianist theological approach focuses on consequences. The decision maker is concerned with the utility of decision. What really counts is the net balance of good consequences over bad. The rightness of an action depends on the said net balance of good consequences. So the utilitarianist is a person who believes that an action is morally right if it produces the greatest amount of happiness or pleasure for the greatest number of people while minimizing pain or suffering. This perspective is a form of consequentialism, meaning that the ethical evaluation of an action is based on its outcomes rather than on intentions or rules. Love and justice framework. What is ethical? That which is just, and that which is justice is giving what is due to others, while is more that what is due to others. So the love and justice framework is an ethical system that integrates two concepts. Justice is the minimum standard of fairness, which is giving others what is due to them. And love is the action that goes beyond this minimum by giving more than what is owed. Justice is about fairness and equal treatment, while love involves compassion and a selfless desire to act for the good of others, sometimes requiring giving beyond what is just for fair.
Let's proceed to virtue or character ethics. If you know a person who knows the right things to say, can calm a tense situation, show confidence without arrogance, that person is brave but not reckless. According to Aristotle, he called this as the mean between two extremes, where true virtue is found in balance. Virtue ethics focuses on the kind of person we should become, not just the actions that we do. It's about developing good characteristic traits like honesty, kindness, courage, and fairness. A virtuous person does what is right because it reflects on who they are. So, to sum up everything, virtue ethics teaches us that a good life is about living with virtues every day. It's the positive way of looking at ethics because it encourages us to grow into the best version of ourselves.
Aristotle gave two types of virtues, which is intellectual virtues and moral virtues. When we say intellectual virtues are about the excellence of the mind, the ability to think, reasons, and good judgment. While moral virtues naman is that are about having good habits and choosing to act rightly. For Aristotle, virtue means excellence. It is about becoming the best versions of oneself. His idea of virtue teaches us to become the best versions of ourselves. He believes that everyone is born with potential or talents, but it is our responsibility to develop them through learning, discipline, and good actions. When people live according to their nature and improve their abilities, they achieve self-realizations and happiness. Once dili nimo ma-realize imong full potential, it can cause unhappiness and frustration, and it can lead failed goals and poor life. So his context of virtue inspires us to keep improving ourselves because true excellence and happiness come from realizing our full potentials. It is also remind us that happiness is not given instantly. It is something we earn by practicing both intellectual and moral virtues, which is thinking wisely and acting rightly.
Video as a mean. Aristotle, ethical theory, teaches that virtue is a mean between two extremes, one of excess and one of diversities. For example, courage lies between rashness and cowardice. This means it's not the same for everyone, but depends on the situation and person. When you involve using reason to find the right balance in feelings and action. Very precisely, meaning practicing this balance to happen, leading to a flourishing and moral life. Si Aristotle sabi niya ang video ay nasa tina ng dalawang extreme, sobra at kula. Example, courage ay nasa tina ng pagiging patalos-talos at duwang. Depende ito sa tao ay sa sitwasyon kapag natutunan mong hanapin ang tamang balatamit. Ang reason, ang practice doon kang magiging papuwi.
Virtue ethics is a framework for living well found in many global traditions, not just the West. Key examples include Confucianism in China, which emphasizes virtues like benevolence and filial piety, and Buddhism in Southeast Asia, focusing on right understanding and compassion within the Eightfold Path. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam also incorporated virtue ethics with Christian thought, notably adding theological virtues of faith, hope, and love to the cardinal virtues of prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. African traditions such as Ubuntu also show virtue-based ethics focused on community well-being. Virtues in Western traditions include the cardinal virtues of prudence, justice, temperance, and courage in ancient Greek philosophy, while Stoicism emphasizes wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues guide individuals in living a morally upright life, cultivating personal character, and achieving spiritual growth. Despite differences in emphasis and interpretation, common themes emerge such as the importance of compassion, justice, and self-control. By exploring the virtues in various traditions, individuals can gain a deeper understanding of the universal values that unite humanity.
St. Thomas Aquinas' ethics combine natural law and divine commandments with natural law, forming the foundation for understanding moral principles through reason. Natural law and imprint of God's eternal law in human nature directs people toward good and away from evil. The divine law, also known as the Ten Commandments, and other biblical teachings supplements natural law by providing clearer revealed truths and guiding humanity toward ultimate happiness in God. Well, sa natural law, amo ni siya ang ga-provide sa mga tawo nga ano ang dapat himuon or ano man ang tsakto kag hindi mayo nga buhaton. Well, ang sa divine law, amo ni siya ang Ten Commandments nga halin sa Ginoo nga dapat aton nga sundon kag amo pud ni siya ang gahatag kamatuoran sa mga katawhan.
Natural law is part of God's internal law that guides human behavior. It is a moral order established by divine wisdom and made known to people through reason. Although we cannot fully understand God's internal law, our ability to reason allows us to grasp part of it, which we call natural law. It shows what is morally right according to God's will and human reason. So that the natural law is like a set of universal rules about right and wrong that are part of the way the world is made. We can figure out these rules by using our reasons and thinking about what is good and just. Although we can't understand everything about God's plan, we can understand some of these basic rules and use them to guide our actions. And so for the example of the natural law, it is universally accepted that killing someone is wrong, but punishing someone for killing is right. Even if the act of killing is self-defense, it is strictly prohibited.
So, bright morning everyone. My name is Raldin Canyones Rubuto. Today I will tackle about meaning of natural law. So, natural law is a part of God's internal law that guides human behavior. It is a moral order established by a divine wisdom and made known to people through reason. Although we cannot fully understand God's internal law, our ability to reason allow us to grasp a part of it which can we tell natural law. It shows what is moral right according to God's will and the human's reason. So natural law is the moral order given by God and understood through human reason. It is part of God's internal law that guides people to do what is right and avoid what is wrong. Internal law comes from God's wisdom, and natural law is part humans can understand and follow to live morally. So that's all. Thank you.